Imagine a car that never needs charging. No plugs, no power stations, no waiting in line. Just endless motion powered by its own system. Sound like science fiction, right? Well, thanks to Maxwell's groundbreaking self-powered EV technology, that future is closer than you think. But here's the twist. While the U.S. helped spark this innovation, it's China that's racing ahead to make it real and possibly reshape the entire automotive world. Maxwell Technologies, a pioneer in advanced energy storage, has unveiled a revolutionary system, an EV platform capable of regenerating its own energy far beyond the limits of traditional batteries. This isn't just an incremental improvement. It's a paradigm shift that could render charging stations and even much of today's EV infrastructure obsolete. But here's where it gets fascinating. While American investors debate regulations and infrastructure hurdles, China has already mobilized, pouring billions into pilot programs, scaling up factories, and securing supply chains. In fact, several Chinese automakers are already testing Maxwell's self-powered EV tech on the road. A self-powered EV means energy independence, lower costs, and a massive cut to global emissions. For consumers, it could mean the end of range anxiety. For nations, it could trigger a new era of energy competition, with whoever controls this tech holding the keys to the future of transportation. So, will America catch up, or is this the moment China permanently takes the lead in the EV revolution? One thing is certain. Maxwell's self-powered technology isn't just another headline. It's a spark that could ignite a global showdown over who drives the future. What do you think? Is China's aggressive push unstoppable, or can the U.S. make a comeback? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because the EV race is only just beginning. But this isn't just about China and the U.S. The ripple effects are being felt worldwide. Europe, already struggling to balance green policies with economic realities, now faces the risk of being left behind. African nations, rich in the raw materials needed for EV production, suddenly find themselves in a stronger bargaining position. And smaller economies, they're eyeing partnerships with China to leapfrog straight into the next era of transportation, skipping the costly charging infrastructure altogether. So how does Maxwell's self-powered technology actually work? At its heart is an advanced energy recovery system, coupled with high-density ultracapacitors that recycle motion into stored power with extraordinary efficiency. Every turn of the wheel, every slowdown, even heat losses, are captured and refed into the system. Instead of draining, the car sustains itself. This goes far beyond traditional regenerative braking. It's closer to creating a closed-loop energy ecosystem inside the vehicle. And here's where China plays its strongest card: scale. While American automakers debate safety testing and government funding, China is already building megafactories that can roll out tens of thousands of self-powered EVs a month. Their speed, government backing, and control of the supply chain give them an edge that's hard to match. But there's a catch. Can this technology truly deliver on its promise at mass scale, or is it still wrapped in hype? Skeptics warn that what works in a lab doesn't always hold up on highways. Meanwhile, advocates say China has a willingness to push boundaries until it works, while America hesitates. If Maxwell's vision holds true, the stakes go far beyond cars. Imagine entire nations slashing their oil imports, reshaping global trade, and challenging industries that have dominated for over a century. This isn't just about transportation. It's about power, energy power, economic power, even military power. China understands this. By controlling self-powered EV production, they are not just securing cleaner transportation, they're securing leverage on the global stage. And every car that rolls off a Chinese assembly line could tip the balance further in their favor. For everyday drivers, this shift is nothing short of revolutionary. No more charging stations, no more skyrocketing fuel costs, no more waiting. A self-powered EV could redefine mobility, making electric cars accessible even in regions without modern infrastructure. So where does this leave the United States? On one hand, it's the birthplace of Maxwell's technology. On the other, hesitation, bureaucracy, and slow adoption threaten to turn America into a follower, not a leader. The irony? The innovation may be American, but the empire built on it could belong to China. The world stands on the edge of a new chapter. Will Maxwell's self-powered EVs fulfill their promise, or collapse under real-world demands? And if they do succeed, will the future of transportation be stamped made in China? If China cements control over Maxwell's self-powered EV tech, the ripple effects could send shockwaves through the global economy. Oil-producing nations would see demand plummet, automotive giants in Europe and America could lose ground, and a new wave of trade alliances might form around China's EV dominance. Already, Chinese cities are preparing for this transition. Entire industrial parks are being redesigned to support the manufacturing of self-powered EVs. From mining rare materials in Africa to controlling shipping routes in Asia, China's web of influence stretches far beyond its borders. They are not just preparing for a domestic revolution, they are preparing to export it to the entire planet. And yet, America isn't standing still. Behind closed doors, defense contractors, tech startups, and even legacy automakers are scrambling to secure their piece of Maxwell's technology. For Washington, this isn't just a matter of cars, it's a matter of national security. If China controls the future of mobility, what else might they control? This competition isn't limited to factories and boardrooms. It's becoming a global battlefield of influence. Nations are being courted with promises of EV investment, infrastructure deals, and green technology partnerships. For smaller countries, choosing side could define their economic destiny for decades to come. From here, the world could split into two radically different futures. In one, China's dominance over Maxwell's self-powered EVs sets a new global standard. Cities across Asia, Africa, and South America light up with fleets of vehicles that never need to charge. China becomes the epicenter of a transportation empire, dictating prices, technology standards, and even the pace of innovation. But there's another future, one where the United States, with its legacy of innovation, fights back. Imagine Silicon Valley startups cracking the code for even more efficient self-powered systems. Imagine Detroit reborn, not as a relic of the past, but as the engine of a new industrial revolution. If America can mobilize, if it can overcome red tape and act with urgency, it could reclaim leadership in a race it started. This isn't just about cars. It's about who controls the future of mobility, the backbone of economies, and the freedom of nations. Energy once came from oil. Tomorrow, it could come from motion itself. And whoever masters this technology, whether China, the U.S., or an unexpected challenger, will hold an advantage unlike any we've ever seen before. The world is watching, but the clock is ticking. Every day that passes brings us closer to a tipping point. Will China lock in its lead, exporting an unstoppable EV empire? Or will America rise from hesitation to reclaim the crown of innovation? The next chapter of this story is being written right now. Picture the year 2040. Highways stretch across continents, filled with fleets of self-powered EVs that never stop to refuel. The hum of charging stations and the smell of gasoline are relics of a bygone era. Entire cities are redesigned around seamless mobility. No wires, no pumps, no waiting. Just motion, endlessly sustained. In one vision, it's China's world. Its corporations control the patents, its factories supply the fleets, and its government dictates the rules of trade. Developing nations depend on Beijing for access to the future. The Made in China label doesn't just mark products, it marks progress itself. But in another vision, America refuses to surrender. Silicon Valley breakthroughs push Maxwell's core technology further, lighter, smarter, and even more efficient. A new industrial wave rises from Detroit and Texas, turning the U.S. into the hub of self-powered innovation. Instead of importing, nations line up to buy American. And yet, there's a third path. What if the race isn't won by China or the U.S., but by someone unexpected? Europe, with its strict green policies. Africa, sitting on the mineral wealth of the century. Or perhaps a coalition of smaller nations that leapfrog traditional powerhouses by skipping straight into the self-power future. We are standing at a crossroads. The future of transportation is no longer about engines and batteries. It's about who dares to claim tomorrow first. And while the technology is here, the question is far from answered. Who will harness it, scale it, and shape the destiny of mobility for generations to come? Behind the headlines, strategies are being quietly written. China isn't just pushing Maxwell self-powered EVs into production, it's embedding them into its Belt and Road Initiative. By offering fleets of futuristic vehicles bundled with infrastructure loans, it ties nations into long-term dependence. It's not just technology, it's geopolitics on wheels. Meanwhile, Washington is turning to its oldest playbook, alliances. The U.S. is rallying Europe, Japan, and even India to co-develop alternative EV platforms, hoping strength in numbers will counter China's scale. Military funding is even creeping into the picture, with the Pentagon exploring how self-powered EV systems could change logistics on the battlefield. This race could fracture the world into two spheres of influence, nations aligned with China's EV empire, and nations tied to an American-led coalition. The divide wouldn't just be economic, it could be cultural, technological, and political. A new Cold War, but this time fought not with bombs, but with batteries. The balance is delicate. One breakthrough, one deal, one failure could tip the scale forever. And while the public sees shiny cars and futuristic promises, behind the curtain, the fiercest battle for the future of transportation is already underway. The race for Maxwell self-powered EV tech isn't just about who builds the fastest car or the sleekest model. It's about control over energy, over economies, and over the very direction of human progress. China has seized momentum, accelerating into mass production with relentless speed. America, the birthplace of the innovation, stands at a crossroads, caught between hesitation and resurgence. And the rest of the world? Watching, waiting, and choosing sides as the future unfolds before their eyes. History has taught us that revolutions rarely happen in silence. The steam engine, electricity, the internet, each one redefined the world. Now, the self-powered EV may be the next great leap. But who will lead it? And who will be left behind? The story of Maxwell self-powered EVs isn't over. In fact, it's only just beginning. But when the dust settles, one truth will remain. This technology won't just change how we drive, it will change who drives the future. Maxwell self-powered EV tech, the race that will define tomorrow. Z-Auto Tech, where innovation meets the road. The future of mobility starts here, only on Z-Auto Tech. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories about Elon Musk, Maxwell, Tesla, and the future of innovation. Until next time, keep imagining the impossible.